I never believed in love at first sight until the night Brian crashed into my life like a freight train derailing in the dead of winter. "You look like you've seen a ghost," he said, his voice cutting through the blizzard outside the dive bar on Halstead Street, his gloved hand steadying me as I slipped on the icy stoop. In that instant, with snowflakes melting on his lashes and his blue eyes locking onto mine like they were pulling me into some forbidden orbit, I knew my world had just splintered, and there was no going back. That was the hook, the raw, electric pull that dragged me under. But what I didn't know, as we stumbled inside laughing and breathless, was that the ghost haunting him was the same one that had been chasing me my whole life, a mother whose secrets could unravel us both. Chicago in January is a beast that chews you up and spits out the bones, but that night, the cold felt like a lover's breath on my neck. The bar, O'Malley's, was one of those hole-in-the-wall joints in Boys Town where the jukebox spins Springsteen and the regulars nurse their regrets with cheap whiskey. I was there to drown mine. Another failed date, another round of swiping right on apps that promised connection but delivered ghosts. At 28, I was Kevin Riley, graphic designer by day, eternal optimist by delusion, scraping by in a one-bedroom walk-up in Wicker Park that smelled faintly of my ex's cologne even 6 months after he'd ghosted. Brian slid onto the stool next to me like he owned the place, shaking snow from his dark curls and ordering a Jameson neat. He was tall, built like he spent weekends hiking the Appalachian Trail rather than hunched over a laptop like me, broad shoulders under a wool pea coat, a jawline that could cut glass, and those eyes, the color of Lake Michigan on a stormy day. "Rough night?" he asked, nodding at my half-empty pint. I shrugged, forcing a grin. "Just the usual. City's got a way of making single feel like sentenced." It was the kind of line I'd rehearsed in my head 1,000 times, but coming out of my mouth, it sounded vulnerable, real. He laughed, a deep rumble that vibrated through the sticky bar top, and just like that, we were talking. About everything and nothing. The Cubs' curse season, the best deep dish spots that didn't require a mortgage, how we'd both grown up dodging Catholic guilt like it was a contact sport. His name was Brian Hayes, 29, a freelance journalist who'd just wrapped a story on urban decay in the South Side. He had that easy Midwestern charm, the kind that masked deeper currents, stories about foster homes flickering in his pauses, a mention of a mom he'd lost young without the details. Mine spilled out too. Dad bailing when I was 5, Mom raising me solo in a suburb outside Milwaukee, her endless shifts at the hospital leaving me to fend for myself with microwave dinners and VHS rentals of the Goonies. We bonded over absent parents, over the ache of building yourself from scraps. By last call, the storm had eased, but the pull between us hadn't. "Walk you home," he offered, and I nodded, my heart hammering like I'd chugged a Red Bull. The streets were empty, sodium lamps casting long shadows on the snowdrifts. We talked the whole 5 blocks to my building, our shoulders brushing, breaths mingling in white plumes. At my door, he leaned in, not hesitant, but deliberate, and kissed me. Soft at first, then deeper, his hand threading through my hair, tasting like whiskey and winter mint. It was the kind of kiss that rewires your brain, makes you forget the cold seeping through your jeans. "Come up," I whispered against his lips, and he did. We didn't sleep much that night. Instead, we mapped each other in the dim glow of my bedside lamp. Lazy explorations, whispered confessions, the world shrinking to the queen-sized bed that suddenly felt too small. He traced the freckles across my chest like constellations, murmuring, "Your trouble, Kevin Riley." I laughed, pulling him closer, thinking, "Yeah, but you're the good kind." The next morning, sunlight sliced through the blinds, painting stripes on his bare back as he slept. I watched him for a while, coffee brewing in the kitchenette, wondering how someone could feel like home after one night. When he woke, rumple-haired and grinning, he pulled me back under the covers. "What are you doing to me?" he teased, but his eyes were serious, searching. We spent the day tangled in sheets and takeout, sushi from the spot on Armitage, binging The Bear on my ancient Roku. He told me about his beat, investigative pieces for indie outlets, chasing leads on corruption that kept him up nights. I showed him my sketches, half-finished logos for craft breweries that went nowhere. By evening, as we walked hand in hand to a quiet bistro for pasta and Chianti, it felt inevitable. This is crazy. I said over tiramisu, our knees knocking under the table. We just met. Crazy's underrated, Brian replied, his thumb stroking my knuckles. Besides, I've got a rule. If it scares you a little, it's worth it. That became our mantra. Over the next weeks, Brian became the axis my life spun on. We'd meet after my shifts at the ad agency, stealing hours in his Logan Square loft, a converted warehouse space cluttered with dog-eared notebooks and Polaroids pinned to brick walls. Nights blurred into poetry, rooftop picnics under the stars, where he'd read me drafts of articles, his voice low and fervent. Lazy Sundays at the Art Institute, debating Pollock's chaos while our fingers laced unseen. Sex was part of it, sure, intimate, affirming, the way he held my gaze like I was his anchor, but it was the quiet moments that gutted me. Him humming Thunder Road off-key in the shower, me confessing my fear of turning 30 alone. He fit into my world seamlessly. My best friend, Miah, a fiery Latina illustrator who dragged me out of more heartbreaks than I could count, grilled him over beers at the Empty Bottle. Hurt him, and I'll key your Prius, she warned. But by the end of the night, she was toasting to the guy who finally gets it. Even my mom, Ellen, warmed to him during a video call from her now-empty nest in Milwaukee. He sounds solid, Kev, she said, her nurse's scrubs rumpled from a double shift. Just be careful. Love's a marathon, not a sprint. Brian's family was a murkier story. He rarely mentioned his dad, a vague construction guy who stuck around, and his mom was the ghost, died in a car wreck when he was 12, leaving him bounced between relatives in Indiana. She was the glue, he'd say, staring at his coffee like it held answers. Without her, everything scattered. I pressed gently once, over eggs at our favorite diner, but he deflected with a kiss. Enough shadows. Tell me about that tattoo you want, the one with the skyline. I let it go, chalking it up to grief's sharp edges. But shadows have a way of lengthening. It started small. A photo he kept face down on his dresser, a silver locket he fiddled with during arguments. Our first real fight hit like a sucker punch, 3 months in. I'd been swamped at work, pulling all-nighters on a pitch for a nonprofit, and forgot our anniversary, 6 months since that snowy night. He showed up at my door with lilies and a sheepish grin, only to find me buried in comps, takeout boxes piling up. You're killing yourself for them, he snapped, gesturing at my laptop. When do we get you? I fired back, exhaustion fraying my edges. Not everyone's got the luxury of chasing stories. Some of us pay rent with stability. The words landed like shrapnel. He stormed out, and I chased him into the hall, the door slamming echoes in the stairwell. Brian, wait, I'm sorry. It's just pressure, the city's eating me alive. He turned, eyes stormy. I'm not asking you to quit, Kev. I'm asking you to fight for us. We made up in the hallway, apologies melting into urgency, but the crack was there, a reminder that love, even the fierce kind, bruises. We patched it with a weekend getaway to Door County, Wisconsin, cheesy motels, cherry orchards dusted in fall leaves, bonfires where we'd talk until dawn. There, under a harvest moon, he gave me the locket. It was hers, he said, fastening it around my neck. Inside, a tiny photo, a woman with auburn hair and a radiant smile, cradling a baby. Him maybe? Wear it. For luck. I did, every day, feeling its weight like a talisman. But luck's fickle. The real fracture came in November, as Thanksgiving loomed like a family obligation I dreaded. Mom insisted I bring Brian home to Milwaukee for the holiday. Turkey, Packers game on TV, her famous cranberry relish. Time he met the queen bee, she joked, but I heard the undercurrent. Approval, the kind she'd withheld from every guy before. Brian hesitated, that shadow crossing his face. Family stuff's loaded for me. Relatives who barely knew Mom after she. You know. We can bail early, I promised, kissing his temple. Or skip the game and hide in your old room. He relented, and the drive up I-94 was golden, Fleetwood Mac blasting, his hand on my thigh. Mom's bungalow was a time capsule. Faded photos on the mantel, my high school jersey framed in the hall. She hugged Brian like a long-lost son, her blue eyes, mirror to mine, sparkling. Look at you, tall drink of water. Kevin's been glowing since you came along. Dinner was a revelation. Brian charmed her with stories of his latest piece on Chicago's hidden jazz dives, and she countered with tales from the ER, miraculous saves, the humanity in chaos. You two are peas in a pod, she said, refilling his wine. Both with that fire in your eyes. Reminds me of someone I used to know. Later, as we cleared plates, she pulled out the old albums, yellowed pages of my childhood. Me in footy pajamas, Mom at her nursing graduation, beaming beside a man who wasn't Dad. Brian flipped through, laughing at my awkward teen face. Then he froze on a photo. Mom, younger, radiant in a sundress, arm around a boy who looked eerily like him. Same curls, same jaw. Who's this? He asked, voice casual but strained. Mom glanced over, her smile faltering for a split second. Oh, that? An old family friend. From back in Gary, Indiana, when I was starting out. His mom and I were close, sisters, almost. She snapped the album shut, busying herself with pie. More dessert, boys. The moment passed, but it lodged in my gut like bad shellfish. Brian was quiet on the drive back, staring out at the sodium-lit highway. Weird coincidence, I ventured. That kid could have been your twin. Yeah, he murmured, fingers drumming the dash. Small world. But worlds aren't small, they're riddled with fault lines. December brought the holidays glitter and grit, string lights in Millennium Park, the magnificent mile choked with shoppers. Brian and I dove in. Ice skating at the Bean, where he'd spin me until we collapsed in giggles. Midnight mass at Holy Name, our hands clasped in the pews, defying the sermons on sin with quiet defiance. Gay in America, especially the heartland-flavored kind, meant navigating minefields, stairs and diners. Mom's well-meaning prey on its slips, but with him, it felt conquerable. We were us against the whispers. Then, the week before Christmas, everything detonated. I was at his loft, wrapping gifts amid scattered ribbon, a leather-bound journal for him, vintage camera lenses for me, when his phone buzzed. He was in the shower, steam curling under the door, so I glanced at the screen out of habit. The text preview gutted me. From Aunt Rita. Found the letter from Ellen Riley. Your mom's twin? Call me. This changes everything. Ellen Riley. My mother. The name hit like vertigo, the room tilting. Twin? Letter? I scrolled up, heart jackhammering, fragments of a chain. DNA test kit came back. 99.9% maternal match. She's alive. Your half-brother? God, Brian, what now? The shower shut off. I dropped the phone like it burned, wrapping paper crinkling under my knees as I sank to the floor. Brian emerged, towel slung low, concern etching his brow. Kev, you okay? I held up the phone, words choking out. Who the hell is Ellen Riley to you? His face drained of color, the towel slipping forgotten. Kevin. Shit. I didn't. Didn't what? Know my last name? That the woman you've been calling a ghost is my mother? Rage boiled up, hot and irrational. How long, Brian? How long have you known we're? I didn't. He lunged for the phone, but I yanked it away. The test was last month. Anonymous kit from one of those ancestry sites. Rita sent it after finding Mom's old stuff. I thought it was a scam, some catfish bullshit. Then the results. Ellen. I Googled her, saw Milwaukee, nursing. But connecting it to you? I buried it. Told myself it was impossible. Impossible. I laughed, bitter and broken. We met in a bar, for Christ's sake. Fate or setup? Were you stalking me? Playing some twisted game? No. God, no. He reached for me, but I recoiled, the locket suddenly leaden against my chest. I swear, Kev, that night at O'Malley's, it was random. Pure luck. When I started falling, I couldn't face it. Incest? Half-brothers? It's a nightmare. Half-brothers. The word clanged like a death knell. Same mother, Mom, with her auburn hair and fierce love, who'd hidden a son. An affair in Gary, a baby given up? The pieces slammed together. Her hesitation at the photo, the family friend lie. Betrayal layered on betrayal. Her secret, his silence, our love now poisoned. Get out, I whispered, the words tasting like ash. Just go. He dressed in silence, eyes pleading. We can fix this. Talk to her. It's not. Out. I roared, hurling a snow globe from the coffee table. It shattered against the wall, plastic flakes scattering like failed dreams. He left, door clicking soft as a guillotine. I curled on the couch, sobs racking me until dawn, the city outside indifferent. Love, the kind that rewires you, doesn't die clean. It festers. The days after blurred into a gray haze, Chicago's winter wind howling mockery through my cracked heart. Work became a numb ritual, staring at screens, sketching logos that bled into abstractions of fractured faces. Miah dragged me to yoga, force-fed me kale smoothies, but her hugs couldn't staunch the bleed. "Dump the baggage, Kev," she'd say, fierce as ever. "You're worth more than this soap opera shit." But it wasn't simple. Brian's texts piled up like unread indictments. "Please. Coffee. We need to talk." I deleted them, then fished them from trash, rereading until my eyes burned. The locket mocked me from the nightstand. I'd ripped it off that night, its chain snapping like our trust. Who was he now? Brother? Lover? Stranger? The taboo clawed at me, society's scarlet letter flashing in my mind. Headlines of royal scandals, whispers of Southern Gothic sins. Gay already marginalized us. This? It was exile. I confronted Mom on a Sunday, driving up to Milwaukee under a sky bruised purple. Her bungalow smelled of cinnamon and regret, the radio crooning, "Oh Holy Night." She hugged me tight, sensing the storm. "What's eating you, kiddo? You look like hell." Over tea in the kitchen, chipped mugs from my childhood, she crumbled first. "It's about Gary, isn't it? Brian called last night. Said you'd found out." "You knew?" The mug shattered in my grip, scalding tea pooling red as betrayal. "All this time, my boyfriend, your son, and you played dumb?" Her face crumpled, hands trembling. "Not your boyfriend, Kevin. Not anymore." And yes, I knew. God help me, I knew. The story spilled like a dam breach. 1995, fresh out of nursing school, she'd fallen hard for Tommy Hayes, a rough-edged union guy in Gary's steel mills. Wild love, the kind that blinds you. But he was married, Catholic to the bone, and I was scared, unwed, alone. When I got pregnant, we gave Brian up quietly. Closed adoption. I moved to Milwaukee, started over with you 2 years later after your dad. Well, you know, Tommy stayed with his wife, Rita, but Ellen, my mom, carried the ghost. I followed him from afar. Sent anonymous cards, money when I could. Then the wreck in '07. Rita called the hospital, begging for news. That's when it cracked open. But Brian? He was 12, shattered. I couldn't steal his grief with truth. And me? I choked, tears hot. "Did you ever think, when I brought him home, glowing like an idiot, that your secrets would torch my life?" She reached for my hand, but I pulled back. I prayed it wouldn't connect. Fate's cruel, Kev. But that boy, he's good. Loves you fierce. Don't let biology erase that. Biology. The word echoed, a scientific cage slamming shut. I stormed out, tires screeching on the slushy drive, radio blasting NPR to drown the ache. Back in the city, the holidays mocked me. Twinkling trees in windows, couples bundled and kissing under mistletoe. I ghosted everyone, holing up with bourbon and It's a Wonderful Life marathons. Clarence the Angel's wings feeling like cruel irony. Brian didn't give up. On Christmas Eve, a knock shattered the silence. There he stood, snow-dusted, holding a thermos and my favorite mittens, the ones I'd left at his place. "Truce." His voice cracked, eyes red-rimmed. "Just hear me out. 5 minutes." Against every screaming instinct, I let him in. We sat on the fire escape, city lights a distant carnival, steam rising from spiked cider. "I should have told you," he started, voice raw. The results came, and panic hit. What if it ruined us? I thought, maybe it's a fluke, a lab error. Buried the report, deleted the emails. Then you, with your laugh, your sketches. I fell so hard, Kev. Chose love over truth. Love. I scoffed, but it wobbled. We're half-brothers. That's not romance. It's a Greek tragedy. Mom confirmed it. Your dad, her affair. She gave you up to protect her fresh start. Me. He winced, but nodded. Rita told me the rest. Tommy confessed on his deathbed last year. Said Ellen was his one regret. But us? That's not his mess. It's ours. He turned, eyes pleading in the sodium glow. I get it. The ick factor, the taboo. Society's got rules for a reason. Blood's supposed to mean boundaries. But feelings don't read the fine print. I wanted to hate him, to shove him into the snow and bolt the door. But his hand found mine, warm and steady, and memories flooded. That first kiss, rooftop whispers, the way he'd murmur my name like a prayer. What do we do? I whispered, the fight leaching out. Pretend? Walk away. He pulled me close, forehead to forehead, the pose from that imagined romantic peak, now laced with sorrow. Fight for the truth. Therapy, docs, whatever. But I can't lose you. Brother, lover, call it what you want. You're my gravity. We kissed thin, tentative, tasting salt and cider. It wasn't absolution, but a bridge, fragile, fraught. That night, he stayed, not as passion's blaze but comfort's ember. We talked until stars faded, mapping a path through the minefield. Genetic counseling, family therapy, boundaries redrawn. Incest laws loomed, though half-siblings, consensual adults, gray areas, but the emotional shrapnel was the real killer. New Year's brought fragile hope. We rang it in at a quiet party in Pilsen, murals glowing under fireworks, Miah toasting to messy miracles. Brian and I danced slow to Auld Lang Syne, his chin on my shoulder, whispers of "I love you," a vow against the chaos. Mom joined us via Zoom, her eyes soft with apology. Family's not blood, boys. It's choice. But choices have costs. Whispers started. Rita, Brian's aunt, cornered him with ultimatums. End it, or the family's done. Church folks in Indiana, relics of Tommy's world, caught wind through Rita's loose lips. Emails flooded. Abomination. Seek Jesus. Even Miah pulled me aside one night at Big Star, tacos cooling untouched. Kev, this is heavy. I'm ride or die, but are you sure? The world's cruel enough without this weight. Doubt crept in, a thief in the night. Late January, after a brutal counseling session, therapist droning on attachment theory, blurred lines, Brian snapped. We'd fought over nothing. Me working late again, him buried in a story on adoption scandals. Irony biting deep. You're pulling away, he accused, pacing my living room. Every session, I see it, the flinch when I touch you. It's not that. I shot back, locket, repaired now, thumping against my chest. It's everything. The looks at the grocery, mom's guilt trips. What if we can't outrun it? He stopped, defeated. Then what? I walk. Let biology win. His voice broke. I chose you, Kev. Over fear, over family. Don't make me regret it. The silence stretched, a chasm. I crossed it, pulling him down to the rug, holding him as sobs shook us both. I choose you too, I murmured. But it's terrifying. February's chill deepened the rifts. Brian's article dropped, anonymized expose on closed adoptions' hidden traumas, laced with our story's echoes. It went viral in niche circles. The Atlantic repost, Reddit threads dissecting forbidden love's ethics. Trolls swarmed his mentions, sickos, therapy or jail, and mine, unearthed from LinkedIn. Work suffered. My boss, a straight-laced boomer, called me in. Heard rumblings, Riley. Keep it professional, or else. Isolation set in. We stopped holding hands in public, kisses stolen in alleys. Intimacy shifted, less fire, more solace, bodies seeking reassurance where minds warred. One night, after a gala where we'd posed as friends, he cracked open a bottle of bourbon on the L train home. This half-life sucks, he slurred, head on my shoulder. I miss us, the real us. Me too. Tears pricked. But pushing forward feels like daring the universe to smack us down. The smack came swift. Mid-March, Rita arrived unannounced at his loft, prim in pearls, Bible clutched like armor. I was there, sketching on the couch. Brian let her in, face ashen. We need to talk, she said, eyes skipping over me like I was furniture. Alone. He glanced at me, apologetic. Stay. The living room became a coliseum. Rita unloaded. Decades of silence shattered. Tommy's sins exhumed. Your mother, God rest her, begged me to keep it quiet. For Brian's sake. Now this. Parading sin like it's pride. She thrust a folder, printouts of articles, moral decay pamphlets. End it, or you're no nephew of mine. The church, the cousins, gone. Brian's jaw tightened. It's not your call, Rita. Love isn't a transaction. Love. She spat the word. This is delusion. Blood calls to blood, but not like this. Think of your souls. I interjected, voice steady despite the quake. With respect, ma'am, this is our soul. Your brother's mistake doesn't define us. Her glare could curdle milk. Ellen raised a fool. And you, to Brian. If you choose him, you're dead to us. The door slammed like judgment. Brian collapsed against the wall, sliding down. Fuck. All of it gone. For what? I knelt, cradling his face. For truth. For us. But the cost tallied high. His freelance gigs drying up from backlash, my pitches rejected amid fit concerns. We clung tighter, but the noose tightened, society's rope, family's blade. April bloomed cruel, cherry blossoms mocking our wilt. A deeper cut, mom's health scare, a fall at work, fractured hip. In her hospital room, monitors beeping, she gripped our hands. Don't let my sins bury you, boys. Life's short, grab joy where you find it. We nodded, but doubt festered. Brian withdrew, nights lost to his notebook, scribbling feverishly. Writing our way out, he'd say, but his eyes were hollow. I buried in designs, pixels a safer canvas than flesh. The breaking point hit on a rainy Saturday, the kind that floods basements and hearts. We'd planned a simple date, Picasso exhibit, falafel after, but he canceled last minute. Deadline crunch. I showed anyway, tickets burning a hole. His loft was dark, door ajar. Inside, the journal lay open. Pages of anguish, Kevin's light dimming because of me. Can't drag him down. End it. For his sake? Rage and grief collided. You're quitting? I yelled, waving the book. After everything. Planning an exit like I'm collateral? He startled from the bedroom, disheveled. Kev, it's not. Bullshit. Tears streamed. You think walking fixes this? We're half-brothers, yeah, taboo as hell. But love? That's the scandal that endures. Or are you just scared? Scared? He laughed hollow. I'm drowning, Kevin. Every touch now feels like theft. The stares, the losses, it's poisoning you. I see it in your sketches, your smile. Let me go? Be free. No. I stepped close, defiant. Freedom's a lie without you. Fight, Brian. Or we're both ghosts. He searched my face, storm breaking. God, I love you. But if it breaks us, it won't. I kissed him, fierce, claiming. We're the story that rewrites the rules. May unfurled with tentative greens, but our spring was thorned. Counseling ramped up, group sessions for adoptees, private dives into attachment wounds. The therapist, a no-nonsense dyke named Carla with tattoos peeking from her cardigan, didn't sugarcoat. Society's script says run. But scripts are editable. Question, does the love serve you or chain you? We journaled answers. Brian's pages fierce with he grounds me, makes chaos art. Mine, his fire lights my safe spaces. Progress, inch by inch. Hand-holding reclaimed in parks, kisses boulder under L tracks. But the world pushed back. A tabloid snippet, Chi-Town scandal, brothers forbidden flame, fueled by Rita's leaks, turned us into spectacle. Strangers gawked at coffee shops. An old client emailed, can't associate with this mess. Isolation bred paranoia. One night, post a brutal voicemail from a Hayes cousin, freak show, Brian spiraled. We were at my place, rain lashing windows, when he paced like a caged wolf. What if it's true? The damage. To you, mom, everyone. Stop. I blocked his path, hands on his chest. Damage was there, hidden. We're just naming it. He deflated, sinking to the bed. Naming doesn't heal. Look at us, tiptoeing like thieves. I sat beside him, the mattress dipping. Thieves steal, we claim. Remember Door County? That moonlit promise. A ghost smile. Yeah, felt invincible. We are. I leaned in, lips brushing his ear. Reclaim it. That night, we did, slow, reverent, bodies a language of amends. No frenzy, just communion. His fingers mapping scars, mine tracing the locket's curve. Afterward, tangled in sheets, he whispered, marry me. Not legal, maybe, but ours. Vows against the noise. My heart stuttered. Half-brother husbands? That's nuclear controversy. Screw controversy. His eyes burned. I want forever, Kev. You in? Tears pricked. Hell yes. June's heat wave mirrored our blaze. We planned a quiet ceremony. Backyard affair at Miah's Lincoln Park brownstone, wildflowers, and craft beer. Mom flew in, cane clicking but spirit unbroken. Rita's boycott a non-event. My boys, she beamed, officiating with Carla's blessing. Secular words on chosen family. Vows exchanged under a pergola. Brian's voice steady. I choose you, blood and all, in storm and scandal. Mine, you're my stranger no more, my home, my horizon. The reception was pure Chicago, Deep dish from Lou Malnati's, a playlist of Wilco and Smashing Pumpkins. Miah toasted. To love that flips the script. May it rewrite the world. We danced barefoot on grass. City hum a distant lullaby, his hand warm in mine. But bliss is brief in dramas. July 4th brought fireworks literal and figurative. Brian's expose expanded into a book pitch, Shadows of Surrender, the cost of hidden kin, drawing agent interest, but also threats. An envelope arrived at his P.O. box. Grainy photos of us kissing in alleys. Anonymous note. Expose yourself, or we do. $10,000, wired. Blackmail. The words soured our weekend getaway to Lake Geneva. Cabins and kayaks soured by dread. Pay it, I urged, pacing the dock as boats zipped by. No. Brian's jaw set. Fight fire with ink. Go public on our terms. Public. Panic rose. As what? Poster boys for taboo. As survivors. He gripped the railing. Control the narrative. Or it controls us. August scorched decisions. We consulted a lawyer, pro bono from a queer legal aid group, bracing for exposure. The book deal solidified. Advance enough to quit freelancing, fund a move to a queerer haven like Provincetown. But the leak hit first. A sleazy blog post. Incestuous lovers in Windy City. Gay brothers defy God? Photos attached. Our faces blurred but unmistakable. The backlash tsunami ed. Brian's agent dropped him. My inbox flooded with hate. Pedos, sinners. Mom's hospital shifted her to nights, avoiding questions. Worst, a call from an Indiana reporter, Rita's doing. Comment on the Hayes family disownment. Brian hung up, pale. It's war now. We hunkered down. Support network our shield. Miah organizing online fundraisers. Carla mediating meltdowns. But cracks widened. One night, after a brick through his window, Queers Burn scrawled. I found him staring at the locket. Worth it, he murmured. Every scar. But doubt whispered, is it? September's equinox tipped scales. The book manuscript loomed, deadlines pressing. Brian poured soul into chapters. Our meet-cute romanticized, the reveal a gut punch, therapy a redemption arc. I contributed sketches, abstract embraces, shadowed figures merging. But as pages turned, a buried truth surfaced. Tommy's journals, unearthed by Rita in spite. Excerpts Brian read aloud one stormy evening. Ellen was light, but the boy, our shame. If he ever learns, it'll destroy. Destroy what? I demanded, thunder rumbling. Us? Or his facade? Brian's eyes darkened. He knew about you. Visited Mom once, post-adoption. Saw the photo, pieced it. Told Rita to bury it. For the family's sake. Betrayal tripled. Not just Mom's secret, but Tommy's complicity, watching from shadows as we built lives apart. He let us drift, Brian seethed. Could have bridged it. And now, I touched his arm. We bridge. But Rita escalated. A family intervention, Zoom style, cousins and aunts in pixelated judgment. Come home, Brian. Get help. This delusion ends. He logged off mid-rant, laptop slamming. Home? That's you, Kev. They can rot. October's chill foreshadowed winter's return. The book sold, small press, bold title, bound by blood, freed by choice. Launch party at a Wicker Park bookstore. Supporters outnumbered haters, toasts to resilience. But post-event, in the alley, a scuffle, protesters shoving, slurs flying. Brian shielded me, fist connecting with a jaw before cops dispersed. Shaken, we drove to the lakefront, waves crashing under a hunter's moon. This the life we chose? He asked, gravel crunching. Ours. I laced fingers. Messy but real. November whispered warnings. Mom's hip healed, but her emails carried weight. Rita reached out. Wants reconciliation, if you end it. Don't hate me for asking. Family siren call, laced with conditional love. Brian saw the message, face hardening. She's choosing ghosts over us. No fear. I deleted it. We won't. But seeds of fracture took root. December loomed, anniversary shadowed. A lead on Brian's next story, corruption in adoption agencies, pulled him south, to Gary's rusting mills. Week tops, he promised, kissing me at O'Hare. Love you. The week stretched. Call sparse, text delayed. Paranoia bloomed. Was he digging too deep? Or pulling away? Miah noticed, over hot cocoa at her place. He's retreating, Kev. The pressure, it's medieval. Christmas Eve, alone in my apartment, tree lights mocking, I cracked. Drove to the airport, flight to Indiana on a whim. Gary was grim, smokestack silhouetted against snow, motel's neon-lit regrets. Rita answered Brian's childhood door, eyes widening. You. Where is he? No pleasantries. Left yesterday. Said he needed space. The story, the book, it's breaking him. Heart plummeting, I raced to the mill site, abandoned cathedral of steel. There, under floodlights, Brian stood, notebook in hand, interviewing a ghost, Tommy's old foreman, grizzled and coughing. He saw me, surprise melting to relief. Kev? What? Space. I yanked the notebook, pages fluttering. From us? Or the mess? He pulled me aside, breath fogging. From the noise. Digging here, it's like exhuming Dad's lies. Made me question everything. Question us. Voice cracked. After vows, the fight? No. He cupped my face, desperate. Question if I deserve you. The scandal, the hate. It's my legacy, dragging you under. Bullshit. I shoved him, grief raw. You don't decide alone. We're in this, blood, choice, all of it. He staggered, eyes wet. I love you too much to ruin you. Then stop running. Sobs tore free. Fight with me, not against. Silence. Then his arms crushed me close. I'm sorry. God, I'm sorry. We drove back through the night, radio soft with winter wonderland. Chicago welcomed us, skyline a beacon. But the rift lingered, a hairline fracture. New Year's Eve, we tried mending, rooftop party, friends toasting survival. But as ball dropped, confetti swirling, Brian's phone buzzed. Rita. Forgive me. Come home, for Christmas next. Alone? He silenced it, but the seed sprouted. January's cold amplified doubts. Arguments flared over smalls. His late nights, my clinginess. You're smothering, he snapped once, storming out. Smothering, I yelled at his back. Or facing what you want. February's Valentine's was strained. Dinner at Alinea, Michelin stars dimmed by tension. We're fraying. I said over dessert, chocolate sphere cracking like us. He nodded, weary. The book's success, tours, talks, it's amplifying everything. Hate mail, but also offers. From places where we could start fresh. Without looking over shoulders? Yeah. Hope flickered. Portland, queer Mecca, rain instead of riots. I squeezed his hand. Anywhere. As long as us. March brought motion. Apartment hunt emails, therapy tuning resilience. But April's bloom hid thorns. A book signing in Milwaukee, mom hosting, proud, turned ambush. Rita appeared, uninvited, cornering Brian in the green room. I overheard from the hall. He's poison, that one. Blood's curse, not gift. Walk away, for your soul. My soul's his, Brian hissed. Leave. She left, but venom lingered. That night, motel bed cold, he tossed. What if she's right? The taboo, it's not just labels. It's us, eroding. Don't. I pulled him close. We're stronger. But erosion's subtle. May's warmth coaxed complacency. Portland's scouting trip. Hipster havens, craft breweries. Ocean whispers promising peace. New chapter, Brian said, kissing salt from my lips on Cannon Beach. Back home, the hammer fell. June's Pride Month, irony sharp, brought a lawsuit. Distant Hayes relatives suing for defamation over the book, claiming Tommy's portrayal libeled the dead. Lawyers circled, draining savings. Settle? I urged. No. Brian's fire reignited. Truth's our defense. But stress corroded. July's heat wave, arguments boiled. You're obsessed. I accused, after another all-nighter. Obsessed with survival, he roared. For us, August dog days, we snapped. A forgotten birthday, mine, ignited the blaze. He came home late, lilies wilted. Sorry, Depot. Always sorry. I flung them. But actions? Crickets. He recoiled. I'm fighting ghosts so we can breathe. You think it's easy. Nothing is. Tears. But you're choosing them over me. Silence, deadly. Maybe I am. The door closed soft that time. He stayed gone 3 days. Couch at Mia's, phone off. When he returned, bags packed. Space, Kev. Real this time. Portland solo. Figure my head. Us. Heart shredded. Always. Kiss ghost soft. But I can't breathe here. Wait for me. I nodded, mute. He left, cab taillights fading into dawn. Autumn stripped bare. Letters bridged the miles. His, fervent apologies laced with Milltown lore. Mine, sketches of empty roofs. Mom mediated calls. Give him grace, kiddo. Love's a long game. November's chill. He invited me west. Thanksgiving trial. Portland charmed. Food carts steaming, bridges arched like promises. We walked Forest Park, leaves crunching. Missed you, he admitted, hand in mine. Missed us. Picnic under firs, turkey sandwiches and truth. No more running. No more. Vow renewed. December's solstice. We returned. Sublet packed. Flight booked. New Year's in the air. Hope thawing ice. But fate's a trickster. January's gale. A call. Rita, dying. Cancer swift. Tell him come. Last chance. Brian wavered. Eyes on me. Go, I said. End it right. He did. Week in Indiana. Hospice whispers. Return changed. Lighter, unburdened. Forgave her. Forgave Dad. Now. Us. February's bloom. We landed in Portland. Rain-kissed loft. Gallery job for me. Adjunct gig for him. Pride flags waved. Community cradled. But scars twinged. Therapy ongoing. Touches tentative. March's equinox. A gift. Mom's visit. Cane swapped for hugs. My family, she said, toasting at a brew pub. April showers. We planted roots. Community garden plot. Vows tattooed subtle on wrists. Chosen. May's sun. The book hit bestseller lists. Scandal flipped to saga. Talks booked, but now cheers. June's pride. We marched. Hands high. Love loud. No flinches. July's heat. Intimacy rekindled. Slow dances in the kitchen. Bodies remembering. August's lazy days. A proposal redux. Rings. Simple bands. Forever. Brian asked. On that Cannon Beach sunset. The romantic apex. Waves lapping. Gulls wheeling. Forever. Kiss sealed. Horizon vast. September's harvest. Wedding small. Beachside. Miah officiating. Mom beaming. Vows echoed. Blood bound us. Choice freeze. October's colors. Honeymoon hike. Appalachians. Trails like veins. November's thanks. Family expanded. Portland queer kin. Milwaukee ties mended. December's lights. First anniversary. O'Malley's callback. Snow falling soft. To strangers, Brian toasted. To brothers, I added. To lovers. Clink. Life's not tidy. Taboos linger. Whispers fade but echo. But in the mess, we forged gold. Love humanistic, defiant. American dream. Queered and claimed. Not perfect, but ours. Dramatic, deep, enduring. In the end, the stranger wasn't fate's cruel joke. He was revelation. Family isn't given. It's grown, watered with tears, bloomed in scandal's soil. And damn if it isn't beautiful. Years layer like sedimentary rock, each one pressing the raw edges smooth. Portland became our strata, the loft evolving from bare brick to gallery walls of my prints, Brian's study piled with manuscripts, sequels on resilience, keynotes at colleges unpacking kinship reimagined. We adopted a mutt, Jasper, who bounded through farmers' markets like he owned the Willamette. Mom retired, splitting time between Milwaukee Bluffs and our guest room. Her stories now full circle. Lullabies for Brian, the sun reclaimed. Challenges didn't vanish. Anniversaries unearthed doubts. A 2028 op-ed revival sparking fresh trolls. But we'd armored. Support groups for non-traditional families. Date nights at food carts debating the Last of Us ethics. Intimacy deepened. Not just physical, but psychic. His nightmares of Mills. My swipes at legacy apps triggering vertigo. We'd wake. Entwine. Whisper. Still here. The humanistic core? Forgiveness's quiet power. Rita passed that spring, leaving Brian a letter. I was wrong. Love like yours, it's holy. Be free. He read it on her grave, me beside, then burned the hate mail stack at home. A bonfire ritual, ashes to wind. Society shifted slow. Our story, anonymized in docs, sparked policy nudges, adoption transparency bills, therapy access for taboo traumas. We testified once, Capitol Hill stuffy with suits, Brian's voice steady. Blood doesn't dictate belonging. Choice does. Back home, life pulsed. Mia's visits, her kids calling us uncles kept Brian. Gallery shows where collectors gasped at my fraternal abstraction series, shadowed forms embracing, light piercing. Mom's health waned, but her last Christmas, surrounded by us, she smiled. My circle complete. No regrets. She slipped away in April 2030, tulips blooming defiant. Funeral in Milwaukee. Rain soft, Packers flag draped her casket. Brian and I eulogized tandem. She taught us love's not linear. It's a loop, giving, taking, mending. Grief bonded deeper. That summer, we hiked the PCT, Pacific Crest, blisters and stars, talking legacies. Think Tommy's watching. Brian mused, fire crackling. Probably bitching about the mileage. Laugh, then sob. But yeah, proud maybe. Fall brought a surprise. Brian's novel, Echoes of Else, shortlisted for a Lambda, Gay Lit Oscar. Launch in Chicago, full circle. We stayed at my old walk-up, now Airbnb'd, ghost-friendly. At O'Malley's, toasting origins, he knelt anew. 10 years. Renew. Rings exchanged again, pub roaring. Always. Winter's hush, 2031, found us expectant. Not kids, but community. Mentoring queer youth. Workshops on loving beyond lines. Jasper grade, but chased waves eternal. One eve, rooftop like that first romantic haze. String lights, skyline, Portland's, softer, foreheads touching. Stranger to soul, Brian murmured. Brother to beat, I teased. Lover to last. Kiss, timeless. The end. No grand tragedy, no fairy dust. Just us, flawed, fierce, human. In America's vast tapestry, we wove a thread, scandal to saga, anger to ache, empathy's quiet win. Love, the ultimate rebellion, endures. Not despite the mess, but through it. And in that, we're free.